Oh, there we go. All right, I guess I was muted there. Hi, this is Dan Letha. This is time for a live broadcast. I want to try to do more and more of these as time goes on here, and try to give you some more video content. Today, what I'm going to do is ink a drawing that I'm working on for Reasons for Hope. It's one of my Truth Jabs cartoons, and so let's get into it. Um, So ask any questions if you're popping on, and if not, then you can just watch this recorded later on. Let's see. So I've started this already. I've actually sent the concept out to a number of people, and they've approved it as it's a rough concept so far. And I'm just going to deal with the artwork right now. So I really don't have much planned as far as anything to talk about, but I've got the characters pretty much roughed in. I'll change them a little bit as time goes on here, but this is kind of how I work. Excuse me. I sometimes I work tighter than other times where this is kind of sketchy, and so as I'm inking here, I'll be kind of drawing at the same time, not just following what I've. Oops. What do I've got? Oh, I've got the opacity on my. There we go. I'm inking in kind of a dark blue, and I'll turn that into black later on. So I'm keeping the words out of this. Oops, I want him to be smiling actually. And I don't want to give away the content of the cartoon. I don't know if I like that mouth. I'll go back and change it. Boy, I really don't like that mouth. I'm gonna have to go back and start sketching some, so I'll do that in red. All right. So in fact, what I'm going to do is take out the whole mouth section that I've inked already. This was rough enough that I should have tightened it up a bit before I went live. But again, this is the real life stuff. So see, I want him kind of like a snarl laugh type of thing. So that's what I'm shooting for, because he's smiling, but it's kind of a nasty kind of a character here. And if I make him, see, that's too easy right there. That's not it. Got his eyes. I like his mouth being open, so that bottom lip. Shouldn't be touching. Yeah, something like that. I'll go with that for now, and maybe by the time you see the final, it'll change. I don't want to get stuck too much on that particular part. So I've got my sketch lightened, so I can see where that is, and then I'll ink over the top of that. And I see we have one viewer. So if you let me know where you're from and all of that, and if you'd like. So we've got that type of thing, and then we'll draw the outline of his face and his glasses. Tell you, glasses are tricky to draw sometimes, especially when you're doing live caricatures. And they can really add a lot of dimension to a face, but you get one lens right and you get the other one wrong, and oops. So, and just for the record, this character here, I actually went online and I found some reference for him. So he's not just someone I'm pulling out of my imagination. Yeah, I'm going to back up a little bit just to make sure I've got the eyeballs right, because, okay, he's looking there. So, all right. That's one thing when working on a smaller monitor, or like a small little iPad, or a smaller Wacom tablet. The larger the tablet, the better, because it's easier to stay in the context of the drawing. The size of the ink lines that you're doing and other things in the picture. The size of the monitor is important, at least to me. I know some people get along with drawing smaller screens, and it just doesn't work well for me. Hey, we have New Hampshire. All right. Here, I'll put you up on the screen just for practice here. There we go. Hey, watching from New Hampshire as I sit out in the snow boiling maple sap. Okay, well, I'm not jealous of the snow. I grew up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, so I'm very familiar with that part, but the maple sap, now that is delicious stuff. So nicely done. I used to find maple trees in the UP, and I would see the sap running down, and I would just lick it off the tree. Good stuff. So this guy has kind of an iffy beard, just put it that way. Maybe I can give you an idea. what kind of person this is, sort of. There we go. Get some lines in his face, and then his hair is very messy too, kind of disheveled. And I have to say, mine is not dissimilar to that right now. That's why I'm wearing a hat. It's one of those advantages of working from home. I stick a hat on in the morning and just go right to work and don't have to worry about making myself too presentable. My wife is working today. Well, she's out and about today, so there's nobody home. I don't have to look good for anybody but the dog. And we went out on a walk today. I'm sorry for those of you that are in the snowier parts of the nation. Right now it's 72 degrees here in Kentucky. And my dog and I went out for a walk a little earlier. And again, I'm trying to get some vitamin D. So there we've got I think that works out pretty well. And I'll add some more interest detail in the coloring. And part of that I'm not too favorable for. Let's change this part right here. Yeah, it's not too much different, but I'll just go with that. All right, so we get the line for the front of his shirt right there. Ooh, I'm gonna redo those. I think those are on a different layer. There we go. Back on this layer. Do that again. So that's one of those things you can't do on regular paper. Is there's no undo. You can that doesn't work right. There, it's better. On the computer, there's a little button that I can make something that I've just done disappear. Very handy. And I've never been to New Hampshire, I don't believe. I've been in New England, and I've been very close. But I don't believe I've been to New Hampshire. Been to Massachusetts and New York, and not that they're technically New England states. Been to Massachusetts, New Jersey. I went to school in New Jersey. So in the neighborhood, but all right, we got our hand in the back there. Like I said, this is pretty loose lines to be inking from. Sometimes that can be an advantage though, because you can stay kind of loose. If you have tight pencils, and that's what I mean by that is very specific lines, not sketchy at all, very tight. Um, when you ink, sometimes it can end up looking tight and stiff, where there's more of a nice flow if things aren't so tight. So, like this kid right here, I had a friend. I sent this to a friend of mine that knew me in my younger days, and she said this was little man Dan right here, like me as a little kid. Which she's not wrong. A lot of the times, if I'm feeling particularly lazy, I'll draw a cartoon character and it'll kind of look like me because a lot of people end up just drawing themselves a lot. And I have to say that's true for me. But I'm not gonna fight it today. I kind of like how this kid turned out, so this cartoon will be done, well, at least done by tomorrow. And then it'll be posted on Wednesday night. I think they get posted 8 o'clock Eastern Wednesday night. So, and here I'll show you a little picture of me as a kid. And like I said, my friend wasn't wrong. So there I am, as a kid. So yeah, that kind of looks sort of like me, doesn't it? All right, goodbye. All right. And it's kind of funny how mood will affect how one draws. It's not all the same. Low energy days, it can be really tough to draw. Let's see, I change the back of the hair there and make it go. Yeah, that's better. Color in the mouth. And a lot of this cartoon, the other parts, have yet to be done yet. So I suppose I could have waited and inked this later. But then I thought, well, I could go online and make a video. Now, the part that I didn't flesh out is the arm. Because he's just standing there with his arms at his sides and he needs a little more expression. So let's figure that out. Usually I might have to move him over a little bit. I've got room. All right, so that's the layer with the child on it. Kid inks. Oops, inks. And I'll put another layer above that for sketching, and I sketch in red a lot. So usually I have them put their hand out like that, but the computer screen's right there, so I'll have to change his sleeve too. But I can move him back a bit, and we don't need the sketch version anymore. And then I've got that general shape layer just for sketch purposes. I made there, so yeah, I can do that. Draw his hand in there. There, I suppose that works all right. And his other arm will just be going down. I don't know if you'd see any of his back there, but yeah, that works fine. Again, a bit sketchy to ink from, but we'll see how it goes. The funny thing is, and I was just thinking about this, is that in most situations, I really do not like people watching what you're seeing right now. Um, and it's the creative process. Usually it's a very private thing for me. I guess I just decided, well, I'll just inking stuff, and I'm not doing a lot of drawing. Um, I know where I'm going for the most part, so I guess that's the comforting part for me. So that if I was starting out coming up with some cartoon idea and just sketching concepts, I probably wouldn't be so game for that. Um, let's see. Well, and that hand, oh, well, that's a little long. So what I'll do is I'll ink what I've got here from my guidelines, and then that's on a different layer, so I'm going to move that down because it's a little too long. And that's kind of cruddy looking, really. A lot of the times what I'll do is I'll try to get reference for a pose for a hand like that, because hands are kind of tough. But that'll do for now. Go back and fix it later. Take some of that extra off. And that's a bad tangent right there, where the hand is kind of touching where the monitor is. Now they're not touching physically in the cartoon, I don't think. Yeah, they wouldn't be. The monitor would be in front. But as far as art goes, if I was in art class right now and my classmates were critiquing the image, they would go, "There's a bad tangent right there." So composition wise, that's not a good thing. So move him back a little bit more. There we go. So now he's not touching the monitor. The thing with composition is that either you'd want him free and clear of the monitor, or you'd want his fingers overlapping the monitor. Like if you do it, you mean it. If you mean it, do it. And so it would be more intersected, not just touching. So now you can go look at all kinds of other artwork and see if you can find any bad tangents. There we go. All right. So that's pretty much all I have to ink right now. I might put a message on the computer guy's shirt, but again, I'm not really sure what that'll be. So I'm taking out, oh, let's see, some of the sketch lines here so I can see what I got. And then I'll touch this up. This is the color layer. I make a shape underneath the inks. And then that's what I color on. And I've already got kind of a rough made layer just to make a white shape underneath to punch him out a little bit from the background. Because when I sent this off to my review people, I wanted the figures to stand out a little bit. So, but we've got some refining to do since there's some overlap here. So take that out. Oh, I've got 2 viewers right now. So, guest number 2. Who are you? Well, you don't have to say who you are, but where are you? I suppose sometime I should probably advertise when I'm going to be doing a live thing so that more people can know, oh, he's going to be on live and maybe want to check it out. I'm kind of just relying on people just to kind of find me. So last night I was looking at videos on YouTube and I came across a live video that's made from a new friend of mine. She has a channel called Living with Eve. And she was interviewing another gal. She does videos on homeschooling, and she just interviewed me a little while ago, and that interview will be posted, I think, a week from today. So she was at the end of her current interview that she was interviewing this gal, and she was saying, "Hey, next week, or I'm going to be posting this interview with Dan Letha, and he's, illustrator and such." And so she got done talking about that, and then I don't know, it was about maybe a minute and a half later, I popped on live and I said hi, and then she goes, "Oh, hey, we were just talking about you." So, so as you're joining, for those of us, or those of you that are joining me, I'm just inking a Truth Jabs cartoon here. So I'm not giving much away as far as what the content of the cartoon is, but I'm making the color layers. So that's a layer underneath right there. And when I finish refining the edges and stuff, I'll maybe I'll throw some color on there. Oops. Helps if you do the eraser. I know it's not super entertaining watching aspects of this, but this is the kind of work that you do when you make an illustration or a cartoon. Oops. All right, let's check the hands and stuff here, and then I'll just throw some color on there just for grins. You guys can see this stage of the cartoon, and then when it comes out on Wednesday evening, Eastern time, 8 o'clock Eastern, you can say, hey, I saw that cartoon when it was just a baby, just in its infant stage. You know what needs to be fixed? That sleeve doesn't work. It's shorter up here than it is over here, so it was cut wrong or something. Let's fix that. Stuff like that, if it gets by me and it gets all the way to the end, and then you find this stuff later on, that drives me crazy. Oops. Let's see. All right, so it should go more like that. There, now I gotta fix some of this line up here. And my poor dog is wandering around saying, "Why did you block my perch by the window?" Because he usually sits right over there and he peeks out the window, and then if there's someone walking their dog or whatever activity outside goes on, he lets me know about it. But the thing is, you don't need to know about it. So there we go. Okay, that works pretty well, I think. Oop. Gotta refine some of the computer. So this fellow is kind of one of those guys that I think uh, people have made comments like kind of lives in his mom's basement type of thing. I don't know, maybe he doesn't, but some people have all the time in the world, it seems, to do certain things. Let's see. All right, so he's just gonna make him a light-skinned individual like myself. That whole casting of different people, like what people group are you going to make this person, and that sort of stuff, is very interesting. And sometimes it seems like it's a no-win situation, and so I have a hard time. That's a struggle, trying to cast people and not make who I picked for whatever particular role in my cartoons, not to make that an issue if it's not supposed to be an issue. So, really not trying to be unfair or anything. And when I was working at a job back in Minnesota, I'll just make his shirt gray for now. There was a particular project that I was working on, and it was artwork for a school lunch bag. I worked at a company called Mellow Smello, and there were some characters that were supposed to be made on this bag for. I won't even tell you what the situation was, but it was something that I did not even consider. And I drew these little kids in this particular situation, and somebody looked at that bag and went, and they thought it was all racist and everything. And so I had to go back and change it. And then once that idea was put in people's heads, they could not live with any combination of people on this bag. And so we ended up changing all the characters to teddy bears. So it was kind of crazy. But there was no intention on my part to make anything upsetting to anybody. And sometimes it's the Kobayashi Maru. You guys know what that is? The Kobayashi Maru. If you're a Star Trek fan, you have a good chance of knowing what that is. The Kobayashi Maru is the no-win scenario. It was a test that they put Captain Kirk through, and other people too, but it was supposed to be the no-win scenario, and apparently Captain Kirk figured out how to beat it. But it's super fun to say, and it's extra fun if you use the term and somebody else knows what that is. The Kobayashi Maru. I used it the other day when I was talking to my friend Dr. Jason Lyle, and he actually said, "Well done," when I used the phrase. So that made me feel good too. So I do cartoons for Reasons for Hope. And if anyone knows who Carl Kirby is, and we have a bunch of other speakers. Now, I'm not kidding when I tell you this name. Juan Valdez is one of our speakers. And he lives in Florida. And he speaks to a lot of Spanish-speaking audiences. And then we have Dave Glander and Frank and April that used to live in Hawaii, but they still do, but they're in the mainland for a lot of the year now. Oh, let's see. You know what? That blue line now is bothering me because that's not right. So let's change that. And that's pretty easy to do. Increase my brush size. There we go. Oh, that looks much better. And apparently I inked the computer separate. Oh, look at that. I didn't ink. The nose is separate too. How about that? I gotta change that. Okay. Trivia question for those of you that are watching this. This guy right here, the way that he is with the color of the line on his nose, there's a name for people that have been on a certain part of the earth. Do you know what that is? And that's the name that they call these people. And my dad is one of those. Does anybody know? Anybody watching? Do you know what a blue nose is and what that means? Now, my dad was in the Navy in his younger days, so he was able to do this in the Navy. You don't have to be in the Navy to do this, but I'll tell you in just a little bit. I want to fix the inks on this computer. What does a blue nose make you think of? I'll give you a hint. It has something to do with temperature. If any part of your body is blue, like that happens to me quite a lot when I get up north. I get cold, my lips turn blue. I don't know that I've ever had a blue nose, but that's what a blue nose is a person that's been. Sorry, Chris, I gotta decline your call. Well, maybe I should just bring the video to a close here and answer my phone call, but that's about as far as I intended to get anyway, was just inking this thing. So I'm gonna answer my phone and say hi to Chris. So I will talk to you later. Thanks for watching. See ya. Oh, by the way, a blue nose is a person that has been north of the Arctic Circle. There you go. See ya. Bye.